welcome to I believe it's our 6th episode. So today we have Moesha, and what are some accommodations that you have?
For my low vision, I get computer to write, like for English, for social studies, for every writing class.
Yeah.
Obviously not for math, and I get like 50% extra time for the test, and like things are bigger for like every test. Fonts are bigger.
Yeah,
That's thank you.
yeah, that is like me. We have similar because I also have A3 paper and I also have 50% extra time and I also am allowed a computer as well.
How is it to have limited eyesight?
I mean, you do feel different from other people. I mean, that's always the thing. And for me, it's more like visible to people in like the first meeting that they know that I have lower eyesight, or they can guess that I have albinism for whatever reason. And so that's like, I can't even like not tell people because I have to clarify or explain it, which is kind of not embarrassing, but like I don't like to, because I just would like to be normal, I guess, around people and not have that sort of pressure. Sorry, thank you. That sort of like pressure around me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you find if once you get to know people that it feels like it's less it's less awkward, or that it continues to feel like a little bit of pressure?
Well, yeah, like my friends, they know it, and we just pretend, like they all pretend like it's no big deal, and we just go on normally. But like if you meet someone new, they'll have a question about why is my skin color, or my hair, or whatever, or they will talk about it with me there, but they'll talk to their like whoever's standing next to them.
Like behind your back.
Not like behind my back, but like conversation.
Well, I was thinking about something relating to the accommodations question. And then something that I know I talk to your teachers about is making sure that they understand that's real important. All your learning materials should either be provided for you enlarged and with the right contrast, because the text needs to be quite dark in order for you to be able to see it well, but also making sure if you have digital resources, you've got this great iPad, and then you can really zoom in as much as you want to, right?
Yeah.
So that helps a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, like in class, most of my teachers put it up on either like a OneNote or Google Drive or something, so I can read it while they're writing or typing it, the questions or the statements or whatever. And on my iPad, I can like the textbooks that are given, I can also like make it bigger and like write on it. So it helps.
Well, that is a very great tool. I love it.
Yeah.
For teachers to use, because then they can see and go back to it and refer back to it.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine.
Next question. When did you start having these problems?
So the problem I have is albinism, and basically albinism is like you're born with it. If you can detect it before, it can be solved. But when you're born, after, you can't really do much about it. You got to deal with it. So it's like from birth onwards.
How does these accommodations help you?
Like Miss Agras said, like these accommodations help because then I can zoom in and also do the work with the other students, because some of my teachers were reluctant to use OneNote and they always used to write on the board. So for me, I couldn't really take notes in class. So I kind of fell behind in a lot of stuff. So it's easier.
it's well, for writing on the board, even just the quality, like how new that teacher's marker makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? If it's a junky old marker that is very light, it makes it very hard to see and to then read what's on the board.
Yeah, I had that problem as well in ninth grade, how they would not leave the thing that they wrote on the board and erase it while I'm still writing. Like, I haven't finished writing it down yet. Yeah, it's very annoying. What is something you would say to other people in your situation?
I mean, in my situation, many times I felt like this was a problem, and it was many times I felt like I wanted to fit in because I was in India before this, and it stands out even more because of the skin color difference. And people, what someone told me when I remember in like third grade, which really stuck with me, is like, this may be a problem, but like, because this is rare in people, so it's not like everyone, like you will find people that have it. It's like very, very rare. So she told me that even if this is a problem, it's not something that will stop like for me, like in the future, like to succeed and stuff. Like it's just a part of who I am, and I gotta accept that. Basically, like any feature, this is like a feature which really stuck with me.
I had a hard time accepting me as well when I was in middle school, because I mean, I was different. Like, I did a TED talk Monday, and I was talking about my experience with dyslexia and how I was in an EAL class for a whole year, even though I am English and that's the only language I can speak. So I understand you. Have you had any problems with that?
With my dyslexia, not really. I don't think I've had that many problems. I sometimes, when I've spelt something wrong, I feel really bad about it. Because I'm like, oh, but everyone else knows how to spell it. How, like forest, for example, or beautiful, or
That word I can't spell.
and business. But I think business gets the most of everyone, though.
Yeah. I mean, the spelling is not like I can spell. Some people, like, sometimes it's the worst, I think, when people to bring you up to the board and say, do this or do that, you know. It's for you it's spelling. For me it's like when people say read, because we always read as a group, like whatever is written, and then they're like, okay, you read, and then I don't want to stutter over because everyone else is reading so confidently. I don't want to stutter over it to just try to read it. But this school is actually pretty, like the teachers are way nicer than all my previous schools.
Yeah, I think I also did a really good job with accommodations and learning challenges.
And supporting children who need help in other ways where teachers.
I think ISL is always making and even looking to the future, trying to always learn more about how we can support different kinds of learners. And I think Moesha coming to our school, and there have been other students too who've had needed some extra things or needed us to really look at what types of accommodations we could put in place for to make sure things were visually working. I mean, there's, some things to think about for Moesha in terms of PE. And your PE teachers have done a lot of really cool things, haven't they, in PE, with using certain colors for the balls, for using, sometimes they've done like a ball with a bell in it or something. No, you don't remember that? No. Okay. I thought I remember one of your PE teachers telling me about that. But there's some specific things in PE, curriculum that have to do with eye-hand coordination and things like that. And it takes a lot of creativity on the teacher's part, and PE teachers have really taken that challenge up and worked together. I think we've talked about things like science and sometimes reading those little tiny scales are hard. So what are some things to do about that? I think in chemistry, we've talked about things like when you have to read something in a tiny little pipette or one of the beakers, it's clear and the writing is white, and that's difficult. So using some color, a little food coloring or something to color the liquid, that kind of thing makes it work a little bit better.
I mean, yeah, for PE, it's a whole different story because the teachers try, but it just like for subjects, it's still okay. You're doing this, and you're doing it individually. You're not doing it as a group. But for PE, it's like letting your whole team down. You know, it just feels worse if you miss a catch or you don't do something because you physically can't, but others can very easily, for example, see where to go, like for baseball to run, when to run, because for me, someone has to tell me like, okay, now go. So it's like letting your team down and letting everyone down because you can't do it, which is, especially in the summer, it's very difficult.
Because it's harder to see when it's really sunny and you're outside. Yeah, so there's still a lot of conversation that needs to be had to make sure that it works and then it doesn't feel like it's such a big deal. Clearly. So that's okay. There's learning to do, right? Always learning. We can always get better. I think it's about, we've had lots of conversations this year about being included, right? Of including lots of different, groups and what does it mean to be included and valued. And feeling like you're important and how powerful that can be, right?
I mean, we did the diversity day, and we had actually a discussion in French class, which was pretty interesting to hear some people's points, because the chits were read, right? The slips of like stories or whatever. And one person in my class was constantly saying that, what if the person's annoying? You wouldn't include them, like that was the discussion literally. Some people were like, it doesn't matter who they are, you still be nice to them. And maybe they'll change, and then some people were like, what if they're annoying? What if they're ugly? What if so this was that discussion literally was kind of strange because the topic wasn't that, but that was like the discussion going on. If you would include someone who is annoying or different, or would you just stay away from that?
It's about empathy, I think, isn't it? And that idea of really learning to understand somebody else's situation and have some compassion, and even if it's not something that you've experienced and sometimes it's about finding some commonalities. You think you have a very different experience, but in fact, there are a lot of similarities. That's what I'm hearing from your guys' conversation today, that you had some similar experiences in terms of, wanting to have more time to copy something down or making sure that anything that you're reading is presented in a way that works really well for you.
I mean, yeah, because I brought that up because some people were truly against including people that were different because they felt like the whole stories people were being oversensitive. But for me, I understood that because I knew what it felt like to be excluded because I've gone through that, but it was just hard to imagine that someone could say like people were being oversensitive.
Okay.
You kind of already asked the question, but do you think ISL is supporting you in the ways you need it?
Yeah, because it's like way better for me, even like my parents say that, because in my other schools in Romania, the teachers were like, deal with it. Like you have it, we can't do anything, just deal with it. But here people are like more accepting to how can we make this better, like Miss Aggressive.
I can help too, right? There's Miss Tina who works for an agency here in Luxembourg that's total experts on supporting people with low vision. And that's been fantastic because she's been helpful with getting your iPad loaded up with all kinds of things, making sure that textbooks, when there might not be a digital version of a textbook, they'll create it and give us advice about stuff. So that's also really helpful. That Luxembourg in general is a place that makes these things available to people. It's great.
It's good to be in a country where you're accepted, but there's like organized, there's an organization which can help students with whatever they want, whatever they need. So how do you feel when people ask you questions about the condition?
Like depends on the question and the tone of the question, because some people are like nice, like they politely would ask you or want to know like general information, but some people are way too like personal or mean. So it depends. Like if someone just wants an information, I'm used to answering the question. It's kind of generic for me, but like when people say hurtful things, it just feels like, why would you do that? You know, like, because I didn't do anything to you, like personally. So because, for example, I can't ride the bus by myself because the numbers on the back of the bus are like small, and like to read the instructions or wherever are too small, so I can't travel by myself. So some people are like, oh, but then you'll never be independent in your life. You'll just always be dependent on people, and that's the wrong thing to do. Or as we talked about before, like in PE, being called like a loser, or you know, so that's like a bit too much. Like if you just want to know information, it's fine, but don't go personally.
I think that has a lot to do with sort of the culture of school, or the culture of a classroom, or and that idea that it's like, as you say, asking a question can be good because then you find things out and you're learning about people, right? I mean, you guys are asking questions today. It's fantastic. It's all about learning about other people's experiences, right? But it's also about the idea of just being supportive of one another. If somebody has a situation that makes them different, one could think that might present challenges. So let's make those challenges feel like less of a big deal. Doesn't seem like it's too much of a leap for us, just in terms of our own humanity and being part of a school community, or just being human, actually.
No, but it's easier to say than you know, act on it, because I remember like in Romania, people even the teachers used to, like, whenever I used to read something, mimic the way, like how close I used to hold it, because then now it's like a bit better, like further, but before it was like more closer, and like even teachers used to like laugh at me. And you need support, right? You don't need in front of people. You need people that would support you, not bring you even more down, because it's just difficult. Because my parents know that, and I know that there's no solution. I mean, yes, they're trying to figure out a solution, but there is no permanent solution for this. So
it's a matter of learning different ways that you can be as independent as possible. Creative, you have tons of ideas, you're into drama, you're into art, you're into lots of different things, and there are lots of things for you to explore and learn more about as you get older with your education and just with life. Just like all of us, we're all trying to be independent. I'm trying to be independent too.
No, like I'm like, why though? Okay, see, people can tell you that you want to be independent, but then your parents keep telling you be independent.
So sometimes you're saying having somebody there to help you is really comfortable, and that's what you need.
I mean, yeah, because it's not like, so why do you want to be lonely?
Okay, independent doesn't necessarily mean being by yourself all the time, though, does it? Doesn't have to.
Well, yeah, do stuff by yourself, do it for yourself, but why be lonely?
Yes, lonely is different, I think. Lonely is definitely different from being independent.
I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like being independent, I mean, it helps you grow as a person, I think, because you learn about yourself when you're being independent.
Being independent is very sad to think about, but one day my parents aren't gonna be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, it's depressing to think about that.
Yeah, I know that's sad. So when they are there and they're able to teach you how to be independent, you learn how to be independent. So when that day comes, then you're ready to be on your own.
You sound a lot like my parents. But it's not only like outside people that need to like accept different people. It's also like within your own family, like not your close family, but like your extended family. Like for example, your grandparents, your cousins, or you gotta explain to them what it is, right? I mean, I have to.
Yeah, I think that's very true, that they're, just because somebody's your family doesn't mean they necessarily understand. And so they're also perhaps learning about differences. I'm sure that comes up with all kinds of situations. Definitely.